summer too.
I think everybody's all missing farms. A lot of people.
I do too. I really do. And I think it's
It's all about Facebook.
it's about misinformation. You know, I mean, people don't bother to go. Like I said, for the last 3 days since I said I was going to do this, I've been like looking up stuff about.
I've been to the meetings. I went to Troy meetings. All that
Oh, you
stuff
did?
like that.
Was it a shit show?
No.
No. Okay.
Everybody was there was only a city hall. There was only like maybe 15 people there, but it was pretty informative. You know? Everybody's real polite and stuff. So as I told Farm when he set this up here, I said you put us in a harness this, but we don't have to talk to anybody. So we're gonna do just listen. We just take what they want to say. But like I said, it doesn't have anything really to do with it because we don't have no playing part right now.
We don't really have a lot of information about it either, other than what we got today.
That's what we're going to do.
You know, and it's like, but I mean,
I start reading my book. I guess I start reading.
like I said, I got reading more stuff about it than I should. Obviously, my son, like an iron worker, my dad was a millwright. I know, I get, and you know, you can't mess up that many construction jobs. Number one. Number two, it's an outflow. If we don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. So we might as well let us benefits from it. My thought. I mean, that might not be the right.
Like I said earlier, it's clean industry too.
Yep. Yep. Makes a total difference too, you know. I mean, to tell you the truth, it's like, when I think about, like, obviously, I've been married to Charlie for 47 years, so it's a minute, you know, and he worked at U.S. Steel starting the day after he turned 19, you know, so he was there 46 years, and just the changes from when we first got married to the changes, you know, pollution laws and things that made it better, you know. And
Well, you ain't got more involved with it.
well, and they should have, you know, in OSHA and whatever. And like you told me today, you know, it's like when the warehouses they built, they did not. Nobody looked at them, or they would not have asked them, you know. So that's the kind of stuff.
That's all revenue, though. I mean, it's all city revenue that comes in there. So. Who got most of it? Who got those? Eversville and Pontoon Beach, right?
Yeah, not us. We don't know nothing about there.
Nothing. We don't have nothing. You still got a bar back here?
Oh, seen a fridge? I think that fridge is loaded.
Is it?
I need to ask her. Loaded. I asked
We need.
Well, I got this water out, and I'm looking there, and I put the water out.
This is totally unrelated to this too, but I'm trying to get all my ducks in a row, and I tried to research it today, but I couldn't quite figure it out. Kathy was hired by Pat now, right? And she stayed. She stayed because we thought she was so great, or why did she? I mean, did she have a contract that do we like her? Do we appreciate her knowledge? Do you think she knows what she's doing?
She's made a difference.
Okay.
They got water back here?
Oh, yeah, they got water. Oh, yeah. They have flavor water, too.
Like Michelob? Is it like Michelob?
see, they had the first day of May voting.
Welcome. Can you hear me?
Talk a little loud.
Testy. Usually I have a big mouth. So to get this started, can we please all stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance? We need to do roll call. We need to we gotta get really close to this. Roll call, please.
Mark Davis?
Here.
Shirley Howard? Here. Roger Goodman? Here. Kay Rollins?
Here.
Don Scaturo?
Here.
Frank Orris?
Here.
Joe Hackler?
Here.
Dan Comer?
Here.
Dan Monroe? Here. Greg Faulkner?
Here.
Scott Smith?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. So before we get this meeting started, I had a meeting with the mayor, and we have decided this really needs slowed down a little bit. So tonight, we will not be voting on the ordinance. It will not be on the agenda to be voted on, and it will also not be on the city council agenda for their next meeting. We are here today informationally. You will be given information by Kathy, and we will take your questions. We are not answering questions tonight. We will take your questions, take them into consideration, and at a future date, we will have another meeting to discuss what direction we are going.
Okay, who are you?
I'm sorry. My name is Dan Comer, and I'm the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
That always does.
Thank you. You're right. First, we need to approve the minutes of the last meeting from April 10th of 2025. Is there any questions on that meeting, on that agenda?
I make the motion to approve the minutes from April 25.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Do we have a report from Dan from City Council? Thank you. Next will be our public comments from Kathy Hamilton. I will give her.
Good evening, and thank you for coming. We love to see a large crowd when we start to talk about this this project. It's an exciting opportunity for us as a community, and it's one that we're all going to have to work together on and get a better understanding of what is laid before us as we start to put this project together. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty. What we wanted to go over, I will talk us through since the computer's not working up yet, but we really wanted to talk about our community engagement. And so what we have done so far is we've started to kick it off this month in regards to getting more citizen input and being more transparent in regards to our agendas, the agenda packets. We have dedicated a certain website called datacentersbrandoncity.com. And so everything that has to do with the packets, our timeline, where we're at, is going to be identified and put in that one central place so everyone has the same accurate information about where we're at in the process and how all that is working. There is also a button on this page that allows citizens to submit comments. And so this isn't, oh, there we go, thank you. So I'll go over this a little bit in more detail. So obviously we have, like I said, a dedicated place for everyone to get accurate information on where we stand in the process, the approval process, and what information is before the city. Currently, no data center developer has submitted a project. And that's important to know just because a lot of people have specific questions that we're just unable to answer at this time because we haven't been given a project. So what we're really doing now is trying to find out more about data centers so we're better educated on best practices and working through that process of identify our zoning, working with the developer, and when we get a project, and if we get a project, then we'll be more prepared to review it and understand it. Another important point that you've seen in a lot of the debates is the use of NDAs or non-disclosure agreements. No city official, myself, the mayor, any council member, has been asked to sign an NDA, nor have we signed an NDA, and nor will we sign an NDA. This is a public process, and so we should be able to communicate effectively with our residents and not have to use tactics in order to keep things away. So we look to have an engaging process and more one-on-one meetings, group meetings like this where we're discussing the issues more than debating them online. So we look forward to this process. This is the area, and I'll sit down, but right here, if you see the cursor, this is what I was talking about the button. Any citizen can click on this and send us any information that they have or anything they want us to consider during this process. They can also ask questions. However, it's just a portal to get information and comments from the citizens so they can be reviewed. We will try to find common themes to do frequently asked questions that we'll put on here, but it's not necessarily where we're going to be responding back and answering all your questions. We are going to have a number of either work sessions, open house meetings, town halls, however we need to structure it so we can really go through understanding this process better. So obviously we have some quick links, current status. Oh, here we go. Data center projects, we should get one, public meeting dates, and then where we're currently in the status at. Right now, our status is where we're at right now for the public engagement. We were notified by a developer that we were under consideration for a project, and that is what started a lot of this stuff, and I'll go through the timeline a little bit better. You can go online where this hyperlink is. You can see the presentation that was made before the city council at a city council meeting on November 18th. Or I think it was at a committee meeting, but they made it for the city council on November 18th, and you can review the questions that they had answered for them and kind of what their position on. If you read that, it will start to answer some of the questions that we mostly see about water usage, sound, light, a lot of those other things. So it was a good initial review of maybe what we're getting and what we need to expect. As we've said, none has been formally submitted. Where we're at in the process is still fact-finding. We're now engaging with you as the residents to get questions for us to find common issues that we all have in common. There are people that are for and there's people that are against, but what we have found is that everyone has the exact same questions, whether you're for or against it. We found just as much support for data centers as there are questions and concerns, and so we just need to start working through that process. The other thing that we are going to be doing is that we have asked the developer, there's a concept, or there's a practice that we do in Granite City, and it's common for economic development, is when a project like this is so large and it needs additional resources for the city. We enter into what's called a pre-funding agreement with the developer. I've done this twice in the city of Granite City. We make the developer pay for expert to look at something based on the project size. So what you will see as part of our next steps is the city to expand and bring on for this project more expertise in regards to whether it's legal, zoning, sound studies, anything that the city thinks it needs that we can evaluate this process, because we are not experts, the planning commissions aren't experts, so a lot of times we need to look to other folks to provide that support, and this should not be at the expense of the taxpayer. This is because of this project. The developer should pay it, and so that's kind of where we're at on that process. But there will be more technical experience brought on board for the comfort of everybody as we work through this project. All the public meetings and zoning dates are going to be here. All the packets are going to be here. Any of the maps that we have are going to be here. Projects are going to be here. We will be working on two other sections, being resources and the frequently asked questions, but this is going to change a lot. And so it's just going to be adaptive, and so you just need to kind of check it. But it will be, nothing's going to be deleted in regards to a historical perspective, so you'll always be able to go back. I did want to touch on one final thing before I turn it back over to the chairman, is about economic development incentives. So the meeting for tonight is about zoning. Zoning is an issue about land use, about buffers, about, vegetation, setbacks, things like that. There is a whole nother component of this project that has to get evaluated just as, with the same amount of effort as the zoning side, and that's the economic development side. There is a tremendous amount of capacity for this project to change the values of this community and the tax policy of this community, and we'll get a little bit to that later. I don't speak for Mayor Parkinson very much, I try not to, but I can tell you I will answer part of this question just because, just so we get a clear and concise statement on where he does stand on some of these economic development incentives, because there's been a lot of discussion about that. He's been very clear from day one that this has to be a benefit to the residents. It has to be an immediate benefit. So a lot of times with incentives, the benefit comes down to the taxpayers in 10 years, 20 years, and they give the incentive away. And that was unacceptable to Mayor. He said residents today have to feel the benefit of a project of this size and not 10 years, 20 years down the road. So he is committed to that. He's defined community benefit is the lowering of property tax. So I do believe, 99.9% sure, that he will stand by any project and he will fight to make sure that we get a project that will lower and identifiably lower our property taxes. And he is already engaged with the other taxing districts in regards to working on that. So you will see a lot more discussion about the economic development benefits and what we are going to do for the Mayor's Speaking Series. I don't know how many of you have attended, but in the last few years, every year around this time, we do the Mayor's Speaking Series. The Mayor's Speaking Series is going to be March 10th this year, and what we are going to do is we're going to completely discuss the economic development side. So that would be jobs, it would be the other taxing districts. We also are going to invite the regulators because we know that, you don't want to listen to what I have to say or what our answers are. We need to hear the regulators talk about this. We need to hear the people that are building data centers talk about this. And we need to hear the taxing districts talk about the impact of these projects. So the Mayor's Speaking Series will probably be a panel. We will probably use this other room that's over here more as a vendor stop-off so that you can go and ask each of the folks that are participating whatever questions you might have on a one-on-one basis to get better understanding. So all of us as a community are better educated to know the truth and how it is impacting the city of Granite City in this project and not what that effect is, because issues for data centers in Arizona or Virginia or any of these other places are much different than what we will experience here in Granite City. So once again, we are excited about this project. We are thankful for the engagement we've had already. We've had numerous residents, planning commission members send us itineraries in regards to questions and just information, and so we know that we will be better off through this process. Chairman?
Thank you. Thank you. So we are going to take comments from the audience. If you'd like to, I think we have people signed up. Is that correct? Okay. So Alexis will, yes. So you will have 3 minutes to speak. Like I said, we are taking your questions, comments. We are writing them down, and we will be addressing them as we move forward and figuring out what to do next and how these ordinances should be wrote. We are trying to protect the city at this point to make sure that we are protecting you as citizens. So there will be a future meeting. Again, we're not voting on anything tonight. This is just informative, and there will be a future meeting where we will go through this and figure out our next step. So. All right, we're going to go through this list first, and then after that, we will ask for other individuals to come up. I would like to ask if there's a lot of people here, and everyone has an opinion, and I'm very happy that you guys are all here. It's nice to see the involvement. But if someone asks a question that you were going to ask, since there's a lot of people that want to ask questions, you're more than welcome to defer, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I don't think we all need to hear the same question asked 15 times by 15 different people, or the same comment by 15 different people. Not that we don't respect your opinions, but once we have it, we have it. So the first person I'd like to, and if I get your names wrong, I'm sorry. I think this is Don DeGonia. Thank you. And Alexis will be telling you when your 3 minutes is up. She's here somewhere, over there. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Good evening. My name is Don DeGonia, and I'm the business manager for Plumbers and Gasfitters Local 360 East St. Louis. I appreciate the commission to allow me to speak. I was born and raised in Granite City and felt it was important to be here tonight. I would like to point out the economic benefits of data centers. States and communities that can effectively plan, manage, and mitigate the risk of data center growth stand to unlock millions, perhaps billions of dollars in direct and indirect growth. At the same time, they can create high-paying jobs and establish themselves as leading digital infrastructure hubs. Analysis by the Northern Virginia Technology Council and the Joint Legislative Audit and Review Commission suggests that data center investment could create value for states and communities in four main ways. One, economic growth. Investment in data centers can drive GDP growth, create thousands of high-paying jobs, and spur innovation across various sectors. Based on a study by the Northern Virginia Technology Council, the state of Virginia generated about $31 billion in economic growth from data center construction and operations in 2023 alone, as well as supporting services with significant benefits to both state and local governments. Two, jobs and skills. A typical large data center, around 250,000 square feet, for example, can add up to 1,500 workers on site during the construction phase, requiring a crew of site developers.
All right, our next speaker is Matt Lanahan.
Just go. All right. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. Good evening. I'm Matt Lanahan. I work for Icon Mechanical just right down the road here. More importantly, I'm a neighbor who grew up here in Madison County and still have a family in these seats tonight. Icon started in Granite City in 1995, and today we have over 400 employees in the Metro East area, a lot of which are here tonight. We aren't just pro-business, we're pro-community. I've been under the roof and under the hood of a lot of these advanced data centers in the country, from design through construction. I know exactly what these projects do for a town, and frankly, I'm a little frustrated from the false information circulating on social media because we're out there helping the data centers being built and started up. People worry that these ghost buildings that hike taxes, the facts say the opposite. Don, as was just up here a minute ago, was talking about Loudoun County, Virginia. These data centers, they have a residential tax rate that drop over 40% because of the equipment that's inside that pays those bills. For a lot of people, that's, you know, roughly $2,000 a year that goes back in their pockets opposed to where we're at today. The data center is only a benefit if the contract is right, though. Let's look at the two biggest fears that I've seen so far. So first, the water that I see a lot of on social media, or industrial runoff that I read the other week. Claims you're seeing online are simply not accurate. Many modern designs use a closed-loop system, which we help install. Think of that like your home AC. None of your home ACs distribute any industrial runoff, right? And even if they do, there's the use of gray water and other means to do that. Essentially, they help upgrade your water system throughout the facility. Again, as long as the contract's right, which ultimately means fewer boil orders and better pressure for your homes. Second is noise. I've seen the designs. These facilities can be quieter than the traffic that the vehicles drive by are. We simply have to demand the right solution, like sound dampening enclosures on generators and ultra-quiet fans. Essentially, we just need to request a gold standard. The community is right to be skeptical of big corporations, but in Madison County, we build. Thank you. Just appreciate the opportunity tonight, and I hope I've helped clear up a little bit the confusion on what you see on social media. Thank you.
All right, our next speaker is Charles Bailey Jr.
Good evening. My name is Charles Bailey Jr. I'm the business manager of Steam Fitters Local 439, East St. Louis, Illinois. I'm here as representing my past, future, current, and future members of our local as a proponent for proposed data center here in Granite City, Illinois. As I stated in the City Council meeting on Tuesday, Steam Fitters Local 439 has been servicing this Metro East and especially Granite City since 1911. Our local has incredible roots in the city and have thrived in good times and suffered in the bad. Let's become diverse and not a complacent community by relying on old business as the lifeblood of Granite City. A tech transfusion is absolutely necessary. We can disagree on the issues that many people have over these centers. These are our stances on the major concern. As Matt said, water usage, closed loop systems are filled once. For every 100 megawatts, 400,000 gallons of water is needed. The initial charge should last 10 to 20 years, so water is not an issue. Power usage. Illinois is part of the MISO power grid, which involves all or parts of 15 states and Manitoba, Canada. The cost of a megawatt is determined by this grid. So if these are built in Illinois or Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the rate will be affected, and they will be built. Noise. The noise must meet Illinois Pollution Control Board noise standards and local regulations. And at property edge, the noise is comparable to a normal conversation of 60 decibels. What we should agree upon, and the growth is positive, and new industry to the area is a must. We as a building and construction trades union want your sons and daughters to have the same chances we had in the union with great pay and benefits. These opportunities are only available if we have a great infrastructure and facilities to send people to. Our local is projected to double in size, meaning apprenticeship classes 10 times the normal average due to the shortage of skilled tradesmen and women throughout the United States. We cannot promote CTE programs at all the high schools in the Metro East and not be pro-growth. The industry must be there in order for us to employ and grow. Help your community with good careers in the trades by reaping the benefits of this new technology. Let's bring a new industry to Granite City and not some city you never heard of in Indiana. Granite City will always be considered Steel City, but it could also be the technological hub of Madison County. There is room for both. Let's grow together.
What is CTE?
Thank you. Our next speaker is Chris Hankins.
CISO.
Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Chris Hankins. I am the business manager at Local 309, the Electrical Workers Union. We represent 1,200 electrical workers in the Metro East. Data centers, it's in the news almost daily. Think about all the streaming devices, services, internet, social media, apps for my garage door, apps for my thermostat. I have my light switches on an app at my house. We say it's in the cloud. There isn't a cloud. They are stored in data centers. As Charlie said, we're part of the MISO grid. That grid has those 15 states and part of Canada. Our energy grid and bills are affected by more than a data center here in town. It's affected by the MISO region. For decades, we have saved energy by buying more efficient appliances, air conditioners, even light bulbs. The last couple years, it's been going the other way. Our personal usage is going up, business use is going up, manufacturing is increasing, supply and demand, electricity rates will continue to go up until we can generate enough reliable energy to have a surplus. Those answers can't be made in weeks or months. It takes decades. Electricity bills will continue to rise till then. Data centers will be built regardless. They have to be built in the United States. If they were built in East Texas, Indiana, or Minnesota, our bills will go up. When Pontoon Beach worked with TriStar for a warehouse district north of 270 and 255 over 25 years ago, part of that negotiation was for TriStar to build a new $2 million village hall and police station. That was at no cost to the village residents. That development has brought in more revenue, which allowed us to fund more for the community. We can make a choice. We can say no, let it go to another community or another state, or we can have a data center here with the revenue, jobs, and people it brings in. This city, this school district, library, park district will need less taxes from you because of this new revenue. I have been following data center construction in Omaha for 10 years. A development like that can take 1,500 construction workers and last 5 to 10 years. I hear people knock the temporary jobs. Well, every job I've had in 33 years as an electrician has been a temporary job. It's part of construction. We all know it. We work our way out of a job by finishing the job. The hope is the owners see our skills, work ethic, and it leads to more construction jobs. Both my grandparents relocated to Granite City for the steel mill. One was for a 2-week job laying brick at the blast furnace. That was 75 years ago. Those types of jobs set roots for a lot of families in this area. With a development like this that can exceed $60 million annually for our property taxes in the city, that will double revenue currently. Let's give our city the opportunity to negotiate for one. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to hear from Kevin Townsend.
Thanks for having me and let me talk. I'm going to keep this on a personal level more. My mom was raised in Madison. My grandpa worked at steel mill. I had 2 uncles that worked at steel mill. I seen the development back in the 70s, growing up and visiting grandma and grandpa, and what Granite was. Granite has declined. I'm not going to lie. I represent 500 members in the Madison County area. We cover probably 2/3 of Madison County. We cover Granite City, Edwardsville, all the way to Highland. These guys want to go to work. Put them to work. Kathy said the mayor wants it to affect the individuals right away. You put them to work and build these data centers, they're going to go to work. There's members right out here, all my tradesmen's behind me. All these guys are local. We're keeping it local. We want to get the work done, and then after it's built, there's going to be permanent jobs there too. Just remember that. Let's make Granite what it used to be. Go from the old steel mill to the innovation now. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Taylor Wyatt.
Hello, and thank you for letting me speak. My name is Taylor Wyatt. I did not have a speech made. I just have questions that I would like to answer, and I would like everybody to hear them. If no data center application has been submitted, What specific issue or need is the city seeking to address by rezoning M3 and M5 districts and establishing Article 17 at this time? I also want to note that whenever Kathy spoke, she said earlier, data centers when we get one and not if, which was interesting. Data centers do not bring in product or sales of products. They do not stimulate retail, dining, any kind of foot traffic or tourism. They also support very few secondary businesses. You did mention 10 to 20 years to see benefits, which is typically how long cities have to wait to see net revenue. That word net is important. So my question is, what real economic value will this bring to Granite City? My next question, are we reaching out to citizens in other cities that have data centers and not just speaking with the developers that are obviously trying to push these data centers on cities? Let me see. Thanks. I have Article 17 in the packet that you provided, so I will skip that question. What limits, if any, would this put on maximum electrical demand, daily water usage, total square footage, or future campus-style expansion? Will this article require developers to pay 100% of any electrical and water structure upgrades? Has Ameren, Illinois, and American Water provided written confirmation that accommodating a data center in Granite City under this zoning amendment will not result in increased delivery or infrastructure costs to residents? Will this article require minimum requirements for permanent on-site jobs? And why was such a large data center used as the public example of what steps are being taken to ensure the public's not given employment expectations that are inconsistent with the type of data center that would be realistic for our city? When will residents have the opportunity to comment on Amendment 17 before it is finalized and adopted? Will there be clawbacks?
Real quick.
Yes.
Not to interrupt you, but you only have 3 minutes, so can we please hold her applause till she is done, because you're
Thank you.
taking her time. Thank you.
Will there be clawbacks if expectations are not met? And that concludes all of my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Greg Austin, and after Greg, just to kind of speed things up, will be Walter Puryear. So, Greg, please. Thank you. Walter?
My name's Walter Puryear. Congratulations on getting that right on the first try. And I don't represent anybody but myself. I should start by saying I'm not categorically opposed to any such project. And that's because I come from a long background in regulatory enforcement from my time with the Missouri Division of Environmental Quality and many years as a private consultant for environmental engineering and OSHA safety issues. Because of that background, I'm confident that installations like this can work and can be safe for the community. But it requires a great deal of enforcement capability and planning. It is the Planning Commission, right? Some of the city website pages call it a plan commission. I had never heard of that. You might want to look at that. Unsolicited advice, sorry, can't help it. But to that end of helping contribute to good enforcement of any proposed facility, and I have to admit, I'm behind the 8 ball on the information. I have not seen what Amendment 17 is. I have no idea what it addresses. It may be my confusion over why there seems to be proposed zoning requirements for a facility that's not even proposed. So maybe some of these things, probably most of these things I'm going to mention are more properly for the citizens. The city should request an analysis by Ameren, Illinois, to predict the cost of electricity to residents under high demand conditions. I've just recently learned that when the supply system is challenged and reaches capacity, generating facilities come online that are much less efficient than the standard generating units. And that inefficiency results in much higher in the occupancy permit. To address that, wow, boy, I'm wordy. I will submit this to whoever. Thank you.
Next, I have Carla Kohler. Is that correct? Okay. Oh, thank you. Noella Rena Abrams.
Absolutely none of those right. So I do have some comments. So first things first, if you haven't noticed already, my accent is not like the rest of yours because I'm originally from Bergen County, New Jersey. I'm actually from a town that has a Superfund site in it. And when I went to go talk to the Army Corps of Engineers about it, they were very transparent, very open about the processes mainly. So the NIH and the University of California at Riverside are estimating that within the next 2 to 4 years, there's going to be 1,300 deaths associated with the pollution emitted by data centers. Additionally, they are estimating that there works with the steel workers and says that their health is in a rotten state. The steel plant pumps out pollutants and contaminants. I understand the need to have new jobs. I'm studying at SWIC to eventually become an aircraft mechanic because the jobs just aren't there for anyone any longer, even if you're from a middle-class town like Maywood, New Jersey. My options were retail. The oversight to these data centers when they start using things like diesel generators when there isn't enough power flow. Who is going to monitor the health effects from all the new coal and natural gas plants that Ameren has to build? Some of the things that diesel generators also emit are NOx, nitrogen dioxide, a known human carcinogen. This also contributes to things like acid rain or high ozone layers at the ground level. All of these affect issues with breathing. I had COVID and it's messed with my health ever since. I have issues breathing. I walk outside our house, which is 2 blocks from the steel plant. I rub my finger against the vinyl siding, it comes back black. And we want to do more of this in a city that is already suffering from massive health issues? Make it make sense to me, because it doesn't. Thank you.
She's from Jersey.
I'm going to try this one again. Jacob Sabers?
I don't know about this pollution thing they put off, but it does pollution. It looked pretty clean with a picture I should see.
Okay, Sabers, I apologize.
Comments regarding this. Obviously, we've heard opinions from both sides on some for, some against. We are aware of the environmental concerns and many of the other concerns we have. I just wanted to ask, are you guys aware that the zoning process is the beginning process of bringing a data center here, and the decisions that we make at this point in time can affect whether or not we have a data center? Meaning that if we do not want this here and the public opinion is largely against it, then we should be able to speak on that while the zoning process is occurring. Because if we do not allow this to be discussed before it's zoned, we can give a green light for these companies to come in and we can be a very appealing place for them. But if we also, during our zoning process, put up safeguards for environmental review and many of the other things that others have expressed with regards to making sure our power bills are not increased, and that the many other concerns we have with these will be the first steps in basically preventing or green lighting this project. So that's all the comment I wanted to say. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much. All right, our next contestant is James Bailey Sr. Thank you. John Schmidt, please.
Mr. Chairman, I defer myself. It'll take me 3 minutes to get up there.
You can have all the time you want to get up there.
Hey, your time don't start till you get
Your time don't start till you start talking.
Good.
We're more than happy to hear from you.
So, I do represent a group, and I also represent myself. John Schmidt, business manager, Ironworkers Local 392, East St. Louis, Illinois. I've never spoken before a panel like this before, and it's with great humble. It's with that I'm grateful that I'm here. I don't bring a speech. I speak from the heart when I talk about things. My colleague over there spoke about the different trades. He forgot the most important one. Ironworkers Local 392, East St. Louis, Illinois. East St. Louis, Illinois. When I go to conventions and I go across the country, I enjoy speaking because I get the opportunity to say that on the east side. So I have a hard time talking and keeping it professional. So my family's born and raised East St. Louis. My grandmother lost a son and 2 nephews. Her twin brother John lost 2 sons and a nephew on State Street in East St. Louis. And it happened to be on 9/11 in 1948. So you wonder, why are you here sometimes? I'm grateful for the position that I have and the opportunity to be here. I also think that divine intervention is what brings people together. And it's a wonderful opportunity that we have this decision that has to be made in this community, you know. At least we still have the opportunity. My forefathers, or our forefathers here, if they didn't believe in economical development, we wouldn't have the steel mill, which provided for probably every family in here at one point or another in a roundabout way. Like I said, I'm grateful. The young lady spoke about the mill and the dust. My boys are there right now, 55 of them eating that dust every night and every day. A lot of these guys in this room go there and eat that dust. You talk about health and health effects. If it wasn't for the union, I wouldn't be alive today. I worked 13 years non-union without any benefits. And the majority of the people that I worked with then are dead now because they didn't have health insurance to get the blood pressure medicine, the simple medicines. What the unions and what an economical development project does for the community like this trickles down to everyone. We have 700 members, including retirees, in our local, and many of them have ate the dust at the mill. So with great honor, I'm here. I could go on for hours and hours. I feel like I have everyone's attention, and I can keep going forever. But I'm grateful. I'm here in peace. I'm here in peace. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else out there who would like to speak?
Let's just say
I only got 2, I think. Well, I think we only have. Can you go over there and sign up real quick, please? So she's got a clipboard right there. Just put your name on it. We'll try to keep it organized. We would like everybody to speak that wants to speak.
They can save money with them on a job. They don't have to call in an inspector. They've got
A lot of people make a living off that mill. A lot of people made a living off that mill.
I have 3 kids that are highly educated. Between the 3 of them, they have 11 different degrees. We're never going to forget that. They all own homes. Time starts. That's right. I didn't have to work unless I wanted to.
Don't read on it. That's they
That's
start.
dirt. That's dirty too.
Give us a second. We got married.
I apologize, just give us a second, we'll get this going again.
This will be the longest meeting we've ever had. Usually they only last about 10, 15 minutes.
Last chance. Are you Daniel?
I am.
Can you give me just 1 minute, please?
Yeah.
Can I have everyone's attention again, please? So Kathy Hamilton is going to, Article 17 has come up several times. So Kathy is going to take a minute before we continue with questions to address Article 17. Thank you.
Thank you. And the city put this stuff together. It's the petition of the city. And so we are going to talk through the zoning side of that and identify really what the process is and what we're doing as it relates to zoning. I'm going to skip much of my presentation. We slimmed it down knowing that we were just going to take comments. So I don't need to go through some of the things to get to where we need to be on some of the stuff with zoning. I'll probably make this stuff public and you can kind of go through it later, but I really just want to identify the zoning process that we're talking about right now and what is online on the website for you guys to review and provide further comment for. First of all, zoning is a very important component we've heard some other people talking about for protection of the residents. And there's 2 components when you talk about zoning and what we're talking about tonight. Where it's going, and then what are the standards for development. So for the first questions that we have put the zoning maps in front of you. Right now, let me go ahead and kind of show you guys what we're talking about. We felt it was very important to identify what zones were most applicable for a data center project or this type of industrial project, so that citizens didn't think this was going right in their backyard, it was going on in Amioki or any other confusing thing. So there's 3 areas that a project like this fits in most with within our zoning. We have to look at current conditions, what the best use of the land is, and what may not be right now or proposed, but what it could be 5 or 10 or 15 years from now. So there is no changes to our zoning boundaries. This is the map as it has been. So there is no changes to any of our zoning boundaries. We are not rezoning any property. All property is already incorporated into the city of Granite City that's under consideration. All property is in compliance with the comprehensive plan. So all of these zonings they're not zoned to be residential, they're not zoned to be anything else, they are all in compliance. These properties, and the one that we're gonna focus on M4, has been in this zoning classification since the 90s. So this is a long status for what these properties are that currently have zoning in place identified as industrial. There's been no change to our code for the review of these projects, or there isn't proposed to be any changes. So then we kind of go, if a project is submitted, and a project of this scope and size is something that we hope is submitted, and we hope goes through the process for everyone to review, because there are people that are for data centers. and understand the benefits. And there are people that are against data centers, but it deserves to go through the process. And the process will be submitted, if there is a project submitted, it will go to the Planning Commission. We'll have another public hearing just like this, and it will go through the hearing process. Article 7 creates minimum development standards for additional development negotiations during the planned unit development process. So that's where we're going to look at these maps. We are proposing for it to only go into 3 areas, M3, M4, and the M5 districts. They are highlighted completely on this. So if we take each district as its own, M3 is primarily U.S. Steel. We do not think that there's any project that's going to happen in U.S. Steel. However, it is most apt to go to a data center because of the industrial infrastructure that is already there. So it would make sense that it could possibly go there. We have, there's no real other ways, because I think one thing we also need to talk about is what we are finding as our scope of a data center. Data centers right now that we're getting notified for hyperscalers. They are looking for 250, 300 acres. They are 500 megawatt facilities, and that is about 1.2 million square feet of building. So these are large, impactful projects for the community, and they can only go a few places. So in M3, U.S. Steel really is the only one, and we are, U.S. Steel was closed 4 months ago, so we know we're going to have to deal with how that is going to be in the future. The only other area is M5. We were getting some pressure and questions for this area right up here, but the rest of it is buildings. The Port District is what it's most known as, and so the Port District has large buildings, but we have no pressure for it to go in the port right now. It's just an area that would be suitable for some type of smaller scale data center development if it should occur. Our only areas that we are not right now that are being considered that we are aware of is this property right here. This property was annexed and zoned into the city in the 90s. It is a planned industrial development. It has always been scheduled to be anything from heavy industry to light industry. This project and this property right here was targeted for a biodiesel plant. It's been targeted for an ammunition plant. It has always been looked at as an industrial development. So how the process works is if a developer is going to develop this project, he is going to look at our zoning code. He's going to see planned industrial development, and he's going to go through what's called our PUD process. Right now, there are no restrictions or no standards for any project that comes through that. If you look at our code right now, your setback lines in M3 and M5 are 0 and 10. So what we've done to try to protect us and the community is we have put in Article 17. Article 17 is just trying to identify a minimum standard for developers to understand. So when we get these projects, we're not negotiating from no standards. We're negotiating from minimum standards, and it allows us to negotiate based on that project anything else that needs to get identified. So setback lines, anything else that might be different. So this area, it's also known as the Hebke Farm. I'm pointing to the pink area. Right here. The other area that is being done is north of 270. It's bound by Route 3, the south of 270, Comedco. It's considered, many people consider it outside of Granite. I mean, it's not even in the city proper as far as being connected. So that is the other area that's being targeted. So there's 2 areas that can be discussed and that are being looked at that we're aware of. So I think that, I hope that that tried to get to what Article 17 is. And so the pathway, we are not changing anything to change the pathway. We're not enabling data centers. They were already allowed per our code and per being industrial development. So right now, all we're really doing is creating some minimum standards So we clearly identified to developers that we have standards in data center development, and then the PUD process gives us the flexibility to negotiate any further standards based on that project. And so, once again, we are not providing any changes to our process. We're not providing any changes to our boundaries. We're not annexing. We're not compliant to our comprehensive plan. We are just trying to establish a minimum standard, or what standards we are going to accept for the data centers. We don't have to accomplish everything on setting a minimum standard because we have the opportunity to negotiate further standards through the PUD process. So that's kind of how it's going to work. I hope that's a little bit helpful on what the zoning amendment is here, what Article 17 is. Article 17 didn't exist, and if a developer came in at those projects and said there was nothing to prevent him from putting in an application with absolutely no standards. So that's all this is. That is what this change is about in consideration. It's protection for the residents as we move forward.
All right, we will start with questions again. Daniel Watson, please.
Hello, thanks for taking my time. I'm Daniel Watson, I'm a nobody. But I do live in this community, and I've seen my property taxes go up, I've seen my utilities go up, I've seen just cost of living go up in general. It's tough when you have a family, and I feel like, perhaps like some of the others in this room, I'm very blessed. But I know that there are people in our community that are not in that position, and that's what frightens me. Now, I understand a little bit more since you've talked about what we're here for today. It seems to me like this is kind of a done deal, and that we don't really have a say. But if we do have a say, I would like it to be that we have extraordinary measures put in place, not just mediocre or medium, okay? Not just the bottom level. You know, if we're 0 to 10, I want us to be 20. I want us to be so high up there that, as the mayor has suggested, that it gives back to this community. That whatever we put in this place means that we get something out of it, the everyday people in this room and in this community. I looked on Google, the last time a steel mill was built in America was 1962. Cities don't want it. Communities don't want it. I'm thankful for the mill. The mill let me have a life because my parents worked there, my dad worked there. A lot of my friends, their parents worked there. It's good for this community. However, if the shoe is on the other foot, would you guys allow a steel mill? If we weren't talking about a data center and we were talking about bringing a new steel mill into town here, what would you say? Would you say, oh, maybe we should put it here or here? Would you be worried about all the impact that that would bring? The steel mill has done a lot for this community, but I don't want us in 10 to 20 to 50 years, when my kids are older and I'm long gone, holding the bag. Because we're holding the bag for some of the stuff that happened in the past with the steel mill, with National. And then U.S. Steel took over that. But I'm sure some of you remember National. Right. And I've been out of this town. I've gone to other places. I've met other people, been in other cities and states. They're not like Granite. And you even said that earlier, that we can't rely on stuff from Virginia or California or whatever, because it's not going to fit us. Because we're Granite City. We're different.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sandy Rogers, please.
Thank you. I just have a very short comment. While I understand and respect the opinions of all the unions and the jobs, And I do think jobs would be a wonderful thing for our young people. My concern is for the people that aren't going to have those high-paying jobs and the senior citizens like myself. I've lived here all my life, 65 years. We've owned our home for 50 years. It's paid for. Unfortunately, with the past increases in the water bill due to the sale of the sewer system, which we got caught on that, I know not all of Granite did, but we did, and with the inevitable increases in the power bills, my fear is people can't afford to live here. Our home is paid off, and as a retired couple of senior citizens, we have honestly been talking the last couple of years that the utility bills are going to make us move out of Granite and sell our house. I thought I'd die here. Granite's wonderful. In an emergency, this town comes together and pulls together, and we can be a massive force. But somehow we need to be protected from the higher power and water bills due to a data center. If there is any way you guys can put something in there that they have to pay for their own increases and for their own upgrades and protect the citizens, that would be my greatest concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeremy Johnson, please. After Jeremy is Bob Madewell.
So, thank you all. Mine will be very quick. My name is Jeremy Johnson, and I am the president of Think IT Lifecycle Management. What we do is we are a company who deals with things like data centers. We are the ones who will recycle all of the equipment that leaves the data center. I'm also a lifelong resident of Granite City. I choose to live here. What I ask out of this, because you asked for questions, I wasn't even going to speak tonight, but I want to pose some questions. Is this the city's economic development plan now? Is it to become a technology hub? Are we looking at something that would be including a data center? So are we looking, instead of moving away from that, into the world of technology hub? I think that if we, as the citizens, knew more about what the actual economic development plan was overall. We hear about downtown, we hear about certain pieces, but we've never heard an overall economic development plan. I'd like to ask that if we get to that point, can we see the overall vision that becomes that? Because as we zone for that, we need to know as citizens, what are we really looking at as where we're going in our next steps in life? I also ask, with this coming about and it being a IT-based thing, I'm going to assume that not a lot of you people are IT guys. You're not into the idea of it, and maybe you are, and that's great. But will there be a neutral IT expert brought into this? And when I say a neutral IT expert, if a data center is going to come in and they are going to ask for, as Kathy made mention, that they are going to do all of these studies, and they're going to make the data center pay for it, that to me looks a little shady, not being that it is, not being that it's not. But perception is reality in all of this. So is there going to be a neutral party that can be brought in that will overlook probably the potential conflict no matter what, because now it's not a party being paid for by the data center, it's not a party being paid for by the city. We need to see somebody who will come through and give an expert opinion on how this really works. And I'm not volunteering myself, I'm just saying that now. But I see the inner workings of data centers. I literally, in the past 6 months, I have torn down 2 major medical insurance company data centers in the United States. I work with major businesses to take care of their data centers after they're done and their new equipment comes in. People like me understand how this works, and I do know what it can do for the community, but I also see some of the back-end things of it. The other thing that I would ask for you for questions is, in evaluating the proposals that are going to come in, can we balance the promise of innovation and tech investment with the potential to increase bills, that we do make sure that the data center or whomever comes in is focusing on it? I understand that we have electricity from Canada to Louisiana, but they are also going to have to make a substation somewhere. Let's make sure that they pay for that and it's not delivered to the citizens in that realm. And I appreciate every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob Madewell, did I say that right?
Yeah.
And after Bob is Topher Sudlett.
Hey everybody, I'm Bob Madewell, lifelong resident of Granite. I just want to put it out there, I'm like the third generation, so my grandparents, my parents and aunts and uncles, myself, my cousins, my children, and now my grandchildren live in this city. So I have a lot invested in this city, and a lot of my family's invested in the city. So I just want to echo some of the things it said. I figured since the trades are all here echoing themselves over and over again, I'm going to echo some of the things that have been said on the other side. Why are we putting all our eggs in one basket? Why just a data center? Why don't we talk about maybe manufacturing the servers that go in the data center? There would be some manufacturing brought back in some jobs, because when it comes to the jobs part of this, once it's all built, and I don't want to have any of these guys not have a job, but they can build anything. Once we put it here and it's built, there's going to be what, 50 to 100 jobs maybe for a town of 30,000 people to maintain this data center, to go in and make sure that all the lights are on or whatever they do, maybe security. So it's not going to be jobs for like this little girl right here. She might not be a part of any of that in any way, shape, or form. I want to think about those things. Like I'm, like the other person said, you know, I'm 50 or almost 50. I'm done. I'm just trying to maintain and try not to leave the city because of all the rising bills, along with the water. You know, we sold everything off to American Water, and then we were told that our bills wouldn't get raised that much. I don't know about you guys, but my bills went up by 50%. So that was horrible. And then I look at this, the city of Madison County, they put a moratorium on this for 12 months. Why did they do that? Are we asking that question? Why did Madison, I know the cities talk, I've been to the mayoral meetings. Why did Madison say, I'm putting a moratorium on this for 12 months? The power bill, we talked about that. There's a couple reports that sit there and talk about how the power bills will go up anywhere between 8 to 25% in these areas because of the upgrades that need to happen. So I get that we had this big miso soup. What did you guys call it? The miso grid? Was that it? Miso soup. Anyway, so there's this big grid, right? And it affects all of us, but American Water owns a lot of water plants, and other places didn't get hit as hard because they didn't need the infrastructure that Granite needed to upgrade everything and get it to running order, which affected our water bill. So if they have to build a whole bunch of electrical grid, is that going to hit us because it's here in our area, in our backyard? These are just questions that I have. The noise and pollution, I mean, we all hear the trains, we all hear the boats, we all hear the barges. We have noise pollution. Do we want to add more to that? I don't know anything about that. Are we doing studies on that? I heard somebody talk about the EPA. But the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about was just job growth. You know, we talk about economic development. I've been a part of so many economic development meetings over my time in this town, from when I worked for Charter Communications and how they were going to upgrade and bring fiber, and that never came. AT&T talking about fiber, and that never came. All these companies promise these big things. I just want to know where the jobs are. Thank you.
Thank you. After this gentleman will be Cody Thomas, and I'm sorry if I messed up your name.
No, you got it right. I'm Topher. I'm an organizer, and I've been an engineer since 2015. I work with a wide variety of groups across the river and a couple over here as well. And there's a few things I'd like to draw your attention to. For one, I love to see all the union workers here, but I wish they weren't supporting this, because this will not bring a lot of long-term jobs. As others have said, it's a very small number of jobs, and they will be for people that are mostly out of state, not here. I would ask the people to maybe consider more about the long-term consequences before thinking about the short-term gain. I'd also like to point out that when it comes to chatbots and generative AI, we already have all the data centers we need and then some, and they're struggling to fill the demand for those as is. So what are we using these new data centers for? Well, the majority of the contracts are for surveillance, for companies like Palantir. And that is not the kind of thing that any of us want to see in our communities or in our cities. I think on top of that, I've been to a number of these meetings across Missouri, across Illinois. I've been to Montgomery County, all over the place. And in every single case, these data center companies and developers are neglecting people's water needs. They're trying to put too much on the grid. And even in Missouri, where we passed large load tariffs to stop them from gouging customers, Ameren couldn't answer a straight question and was going to tell us they were going to raise rates yet again in Missouri. So everywhere these go, rates increase, water dries up. People suffer from the light, the sound, the pollution, and so much more. We don't need these. There are going to be even more jobs crushed if we continue pushing down these AI directions. There is no benefit and only harm. And I hope people will take a second look, be really careful, and work very hard to keep this city accountable to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Cody Thomas. You didn't have far to walk.
No, not at all. Thanks for getting my name right, by the way. So I want to first kind of point out that I want to kind of piggyback off the last two guys here. I fully respect all of the tradesmen and everybody here who will be impacted with the building of this. I've worked in the telecoms industry for 13 years. I know when we say data center, a lot of people want to bring in things like the cloud. They want to bring in things like faster internet speeds. That's not all what data centers are doing right now. Just like the gentleman said before, a lot of them are actually coming in for the benefit and for the production of AI. So where it might be something where a tradesman might be able to have a job for 5 or 10 years to build it, by the time it's done, an unfortunate side effect is that guys like me who work in the tech industry and work in a place where we can be replaced like that by a bot, you're actually helping us lose our jobs. And I respect what you guys do. You do a hard job. Personally, I don't want to do, but it is something that I think we need to not only know data centers coming in, but what they intend to do. It's not going to be. I admit I do kind of go on Facebook and see a lot of the people in Granite kind of talking, and a lot of people think, oh, it's just going to bring in faster internet, or it's going to bring in like all this. That's not really what they do. I've worked with them for 13 years. That's just not what happens with them. It's not really going to be even something that's going to come in that's going to bring jobs for people like me. It's going to be, most of these data centers will have people that they'll ship in even from foreign countries or from other parts of the United States to do those jobs. They won't need people in Granite because people in Granite don't know how to work the data centers that are there. They're going to have to bring in people for that. So I think before we start thinking about, there's going to be a lot of tradesmen have a job, but a lot of normal people in Granite won't.
Thank you. Jamie Gregory. After Jamie will be Morgan Bennett.
I'm at least third generation in this town. Been here most of my 37 years, homeowner 12. Okay, can you hear better now? Okay, I've been here most of my life, 37 years, 12 years as a homeowner. And I think something that's not been brought up also is that a lot of this being done for AI is heavily overinvested in and headed towards a bubble right now from all the economic projections that might pop as badly as the 2008 housing crash. Is there going to be any kind of protections built in to make sure that there's not going to be just a half-completed eyesore sitting on an industrial property? Is there going to be some guarantee to make sure that people are going to be paid, like all the union pipe fitters here, if that happens during the construction of it?
Thank you.
Like many of you, I've lived here my entire life. I couldn't even tell you when we got here. That's how long my family has been here. And there's a lot of talk of temporary jobs. Well, I have a permanent one. I'm a social worker in your community. I went to school and came back here to reinvest in my community that I believed in. I work every day with the elderly population and with disabled adults, most of whom would not be able to come here because they are housebound. But I can tell you they are terrified about rising costs. They don't know where their next meals are coming from. Their Medicaid benefits are being slashed. And I am constantly, pretty much every day, looking for charities to help them. So yeah, I want to know how this is going to benefit our most vulnerable population. I have been working with seniors and disabled adults in Granite City for the last 8 years. And these are things that are always on their mind. So I think we need to think about that. Obviously everyone has already said that, but I wanted to give my perspective as someone who goes into these homes every single day. I also would like to point out that we do need to be careful about our verbiage, saying when it comes, not if. That does make a lot of us here feel like this is a done deal and our voices do not matter. I would also like to bring up that we've stated there's no NDAs that have been signed. The mayor needs to address that it is being rumored that he toured an out-of-state facility and signed an NDA there.
I can address that immediately. I was with him on that same tour, and nobody signed NDAs. That's been falsely reported. And you can verify that because when we came back, we've told everybody. We've told everybody we're in a Google Center.
Yeah,
We've
that's
done
great.
articles.
I just
So
think it needed to be addressed very
Thank you.
publicly.
Okay.
I also called and voiced my concerns about this prior to this meeting being scheduled and was asked if I was calling on behalf of a data center at the mayor's office. And so that type of verbiage and pushback makes me and a lot of other people in here feel like our voices are not being heard and this is simply about temporary jobs. And like this gentleman said, when those temporary jobs are done in maybe 5 years, who knows how fast we get it up, it's not going to be people from Granite that staff those places. So this is a purely temporary thing, and I'm concerned about the people I work with day in and day out. Thank you.
Thank you. James Bailey.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm being too good of a public speaker or whatever, but, and you know, I look at these guys here coming with the orange, you know, I got my, I worked through the construction, I worked for the operations engineer, I've done a little bit of everything all over this town all of my life. And just like that young lady just said, the older people don't even realize. We got somebody right in this room here, 78 years old. They can't afford to stop working. She's taking care of the other older people when they can't take care of themselves. And if she didn't do the extra work on the side, she couldn't pay her bills because of the water bill, because the electric bill keeps on going up. And I want every one of you all to recognize, and I want to emphasize that with me changing my voice. Every one of you is going to get old too someday, just like me. And you might not even be as healthy as I am at 63. Okay, so look, put that in perspective when you're looking at approving this here that's going to affect everybody's bills. Oh yeah, if you work for the city, you work for a labor hall, you work for whatever, you get a real good pension. Oh yeah. What happens when you get that pension? You get that pension, it's paid for by the city, it's all contributed. Oh, you're Mr. Rich Guy, you move up to Edwardsville. Oh, you're paying higher taxes? Oh, you leave our town. I've got enough money, I can move any damn where I want, you know? And the thing about it is, I already got 164 acres over in Missouri. Almost ready to roll. The only thing about it is, it takes a little more time to move 38 beehives. Over the last weekend, I had to rescue a few cows down at the farm and feed, what time other people wasn't doing it. Yeah, I went around this town and helped everybody that I could. And it didn't make a damn what color they wore. I got out there last year in the freezing cold, not being physically able myself, with all the steel in my body, helping a black gentleman that was late going to work. He had a flat tire there at Quick Trip. I had jack in the back of the car, electric impact. Ain't got that muscle to do that four-way no more like I used to. But it's all about helping other people. And everybody here needs to recognize that it ain't just about them temporary jobs that you put there for the operators hall or the laborers or pipe fitters or whoever. Them's temporary. That's it. It's done. You're going to get a couple weeks or a couple months or a couple years out of it. And then we're left holding the bag to the higher price. And I don't believe that just like any other contract that this city signed over the years, and I've seen it multiple times, a company comes in and repairs the sewer line down on Denver. They pay for that damn thing 3 times. $50,000. Crazy.
Thank you. So, as you all may or may not know, we are the Planning and Zoning Commission. We all live in the city just like you do. So this affects us the same way it affects you. We are an advisory committee, that's all we are. We will give our recommendation to City Council when the time comes, and City Council will have final say on all of this. So we have listened to everything you've said, and again, we are all residents just like you, and we will plan accordingly, and we will do what we can to do what's best for the community. And at this point, I don't know what that is, to be honest with you, but we will do our best to do what's best for the community. We are not voting on, this is, it's not up to us. We're an advisory committee, City Council and the mayor. Because this is a meeting of us.
Once it goes to the city council, is there going to be any type of voting by the city? No. Granite City is a home rule that does not need approval from the city.
Yeah, I mean, I can't answer all these questions at this point. This is an informative meeting so we could get your opinions. And it's time for us to close the meeting, and we will move forward. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Well, I got a motion to table the petition for a later date. We're gonna do it?